you need to get over here because Malachi's blue and cold and he's not breathing. And I'm like, what did he do? Like, what did he do? What happened? We get to the hospital and the nurse says, I can't tell you because we don't have any toxicology, but if I could guess, it's probably fentanyl. As a parent, and I'm no perfect parent, but I would say talk to your kids more because you really don't know.
Michelle Watson, thank you for coming in today. You are the founder of the 111 Project. Let's just jump right in. Can you tell us about the 111 Project?
So I lost my son, Malachi, to fentanyl back in 2020. And after that happened, I mean, I had no idea what fentanyl even was. But once I did a little bit of research, I was like, whoa, this is happening all over. And it was happening really frequently. So I said, I want to be this, like, advocate, right? I'm going to go out. I'm going to save the world.
Yeah.
And then I got really depressed for a year. And then I didn't because I'd noticed that there were more and more and more and more kids. I say kids, but it's all over. But more young people dying. And so, one pill kills. And then every 11 minutes, someone was dying from fentanyl. But I lost my grandmother who raised me. She was my rock. January 2020. So months before him. And she would always be like, guys, it's 111. Check the clock. And so we would all like send it back to each other, right? Screenshots. We have 111s for days. And so I thought about it and I'm just like, okay, 111, the 111 something. And then it was just, 111 Project. And we started.
When did you start that?
So I started November last year.
Okay.
We did our first presentation at a school in Big Lake where I grew up because I know the superintendent, right? It's nice to know people, small town living. So I said, hey, can I do a presentation at the school? And he's like, why not? So we did. And it was God because he said, do you want to do your presentation on January 11th?
Wow.
And I was like crying in the car, right? I'm like, of course I do. But then we get to the school. It's 12:48 on the clock on my watch. Mm-hmm. And I look up at the digital clock in the school and it says 111. And I'm not even kidding. I was like, I'm not going to be able to talk to these kids. I'm going to lose it,
Yeah.
But we did. And it was so powerful. And a lot of my friends from school, a lot of the teachers were like, Michelle, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how we got started. It was kind of thrown together. We, if you've seen us in the news or locally, we have all these posters with all these kids on them, right? We started with 6. So I had my son and 5 others. And now, months later, we have 28. And they're all local kids. It's all, and I say kids, but we have a couple of, 28, 30 plus. But yeah, 28 now. And it's like, now there's going to be 29 because I heard about another kid yesterday and it's just happening way too much. So we bring awareness in the community. Yeah. We do presentations in schools or whoever will listen to us.
Yeah.
I saw your Instagram. And I saw a photo of your son and I was like, wow, he looks like my son. And he's since 18 but tell us about Malachi.
He was a toot. There's so many things, as a mom, like you get frustrated as they get older because you're like, I'm going to whoop you. What are you doing? But he was very, very, very eccentric. Like he loved music. He loved art. He wanted to be a fashion designer. He has music on Apple Music. I wasn't happy. He was doing rap music, but I was like, you know what? It is what it is. That's my kid.
He's creating.
And, I'm grateful now because I can hear his voice every day. But when he was younger, it was like he was the shy kid. He was the one that was just, so handsome, so quiet, like always real reserved. And then he got to, always in all the sports, baseball, basketball, football. He was an awesome quarterback. went to school here locally, but it was like when he get to high school, that's when I started to see a change in him, you know, the tattoos and the hanging out with different people and wanting to just be this YouTube life. And that's when I just started noticing all the changes. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I get it. You know, it's high school. He's getting older. Maybe he's just coming into who he is.
Teenagers.
I don't have a problem with tattoos. I'm like, fine, you know, it's 2023. Like, everybody has tattoos. Go for it. But then they became more and more and more. And I'll never forget the day that he came home with a tattoo on his face.
Oh.
I was like, you are not Lil Wayne, bro. I know you want to be a rapper, but check this out. This is not what we're going to do.
Especially as a mom, because you're like, the face, you're so beautiful. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And he is beautiful. And so I was angry, but, you know, he struggled a lot with depression and anxiety and things. And so I'm like, okay, let's like see a doctor, you know? No, I'm good. But then he started smoking weed. Typical. And after that, it was like I really noticed the changes. Staying up later, hanging out with friends, doing, you know, all the things that these teenagers do. But I was kind of oblivious to it because I'm like, I mean, I hate to sound like this, but it's true. A teenager, they're going to dabble in stuff. It was all the staying out, and I don't want to go to school anymore, and I don't want to do this. And then he's isolating himself, and he don't want to stay, you know, like I'm in my room. Just leave me alone. And all the changes in behavior, I'm like, okay, what's really going on? I had no idea that our young people have so much access to, I mean, they're getting in their parents' and grandparents' medicine cabinets. You know, they really are.
Yeah.
Let's face it, they do that. And then it's like, okay, so-and-so's grandma may take Xanax. Well, Xanax makes me feel better, so I'm going to take so-and-so's grandma's Xanax. And he somehow started taking Percocets from whoever he got them from. And I could tell that he was, you know, on something from time to time, but it wasn't any different than being, you know, okay, maybe he smoked a little bit, whatever. We're still trying to work through that. But it wasn't until, you know, I'm like, why this? Are you okay? What's going on? I could see he was always angry. The mood changes. And then, you know, he had a baby. Made me a grandma at 40.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, bro, you don't even want to take care of yourself. Like, what are you doing having a baby? But I'm grateful because I have this little baby now that is a spitting image of him. He looks like him, acts like him, walks like him, talks like him, everything. And so he changed. He's like, okay, Mom, like, I know I have to get it together. He was working 2 jobs, like doing great. And I believe that that's why it happened to him, because after studying addiction, if you're clean for a while and then you go back, that's when you can die from it because it is so severe. You know, it's like your system can't take it. So he was doing good. And then August 6th, 2020, he decided to go out with his friends. I hadn't talked to him that day. He was with his girlfriends. They were all together, him, the baby, and her. And I guess they had, you know, had their little day, whatever. And he goes out with his friends that day. So her mom calls me and says, you need to get over here because Malachi's blue and cold and he's not breathing. And I'm like, you know, I jump out of bed. I get over there across town within like 2 minutes. And I'm like, what did he do? Like, what did he do? What happened? And we get to the hospital and the nurse says, I can't tell you because we don't have any toxicology, but if I could guess, it's probably fentanyl. And I'm like, what is that? You know, I didn't even know what fentanyl was in a medical setting at that point. And so then I just started researching.
Okay, so
but
what is I'm fairly naive as well. Like I think we're in a different generation, right? Like grew up in the 80s, I guess, you know, and teenagers in the 90s probably. And I think, you know, in my day, like, yes, there was weed, marijuana. I think the biggest thing was like, drunk driving. Don't drive drunk. And, like a 40-ounce beer was like the, was the like epitome of a crazy Friday night. So, obviously you hear about fentanyl in the movies and on television and things like that. But yeah, what is fentanyl?
Yeah. So that's where I was. I'm like, fentanyl what? So we got some fentanyl from the pharmacy, from somebody. So regular, medical fentanyl that comes from a doctor, comes from the hospital, is okay in a medical setting, right? It's gonna be administered from the hospital or from a doctor.
It's highly controlled.
Right. Yeah. What these people are getting is illicit fentanyl that's being pressed into pills and vapes and liquid. It is in liquid and powder form. It's colorless, odorless. You have no idea that it's in what you're getting. And it's coming across the borders. So that's what he got. And you can buy a pill press on Amazon. And that's what's happening.
So make your own pills?
To make your own pills.
Wow.
So,
okay.
And we teach the kids in school. You can look at a fake Percocet and a real Percocet, or a fake Adderall and a real Adderall, and they look identical. These kids have no idea what they're taking or what they're doing. And at first it's like, there's this stigma around, he's in a single parent household, or he's, whatever, he's from that side of the block. Or no, it is literally happening all over. We have kids in our group who come from 2-parent households, perfect family, everything is fine. And then you've got some that come from, they live with their grandparents, or maybe they live with their mom, their dad, whatever, but it's literally happening to everyone. And I think that is a really big stigma. Oh, my kid, not my kid, not my kid. But I get calls from people who said, not my kid, every single other day of the week.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to do a little bit of research. So, original is like, it's a form of, like you were saying, like kind of like morphine.
It's stronger than morphine.
Like pain relief.
So it's 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. Yeah.
Okay. It's confusing for me. And again, I apologize because I'm a bit naive in this realm, but I sit there and go like, why is it being produced?
Right.
If it's so powerful and it's going to cause so much damage with so little amount of it, like what's the point? I don't, you know what I mean? So you're at the hospital, right? And they finally do the toxicology. Where do you go from there?
Well, back then, you just live with it, right? You're like, okay, my son is gone. I don't know what to do. He's 20 years old. He has this baby. Here we are. Part of me was like I said, so like, I want to advocate. I want to do all these things, and I'm going to rah, rah, rah. I want to save everybody. And then I got so depressed because I was like, it's my fault. I did it. You go through all of this guilt. Like, what could I have done differently? Was it me? What did I do? Could I have been a better mom? Could I have been around more? What was I not paying attention to? And then I finally looked around and I'm like, this can happen any day to anybody.
And this was 2022. We have to remind you, this was a devastating year for so many people, right?
2020, it's like COVID. First of all, everybody's at home freaking out already. Yeah. People are dealing with depression and anxiety and all this stuff. But I just started researching, and then I have a ton of moms who started reaching out to me who are like, angel moms, we all call each other. There's all these tribes, right? All these moms. I'm like, my Facebook is filled with thousands of mothers who reached out to me, and I'm like, where are you people even from? Yeah. But they're in Kentucky and Ohio and New York and everywhere. And we actually went last year. they have a walk at the Ohio-Kentucky Bridge. And so when I got there, these bridges were filled with banners and banners and banners of kids' faces. Obviously, my kid is on those banners. But it was really overwhelming to look at because it's like these are people's children.
Yeah.
And to see that it's not just one or two. Mm-hmm. Even here, there's 28 kids, now 29 kids, and probably more who haven't spoken up. It's happening in our own backyard. But when I went there, I was like, okay, it's time for me to do this. If these women can be tough enough to like fight for their kids, that's what I'm going to do too. And so I came back home and I was like, let's do this. So that was like last September. And then November, I said, let's do it. And now we have a whole group of moms who come with me to these presentations. We do a ton in the community. We are just out trying to help, trying to provide resources for young people that are struggling. Yeah. I have moms who call me and everybody's like, Michelle, you're crazy. Like, you're going to go meet this kid at the park at 2 a.m. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not scared.
Wow.
I'm not, because he needs to talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, and of course I need to not do that. But
if you
I feel like it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if my son would have reached out to somebody, maybe the outcome would be different,
Yeah. What's one piece of advice? Like, I'm sure you have lots of helpful tips, but like for other parents out there, like what's just something that you want to get across to them?
It's funny. We talked about that yesterday in our group because I had a mom who came to me and said, I just looked at my son's phone and he is talking about a vape and I am so mad. And I said, go drug test him now, because she said he was sleeping a lot. And I said, go drug test him now. Make sure that the drug test, it will detect fentanyl, because all of them do not. And she's like, what? Oh my God, you're scaring me. And I said, you should be scared.
Yeah.
Because it's in everything. And I think parents need to wake up. They need to realize that their kids are getting a hold of drugs at school. No offense against the schools. I mean, they can't possibly watch all these kids and what they are bringing in or doing when they go to lunch. But these kids are passing these things around every day, all day. Even if you think your kid's not doing it, watch who their friends are. Mm-hmm. Watch where they're going. Watch their behavior. If you find things in their room, I wish I would have checked my son's phone more. Mm-hmm. Kids nowadays are like, that's not your business. Okay, I pay the bill. It's my business.
Yeah.
You're their parent. I mean, as a parent, I think, and again, I hate, making it akin to like, oh, we're the old generation or something like this, but it's like, you make a great point, right? Like, when we're in high school, I know the internet was brand new, no social media. We didn't have phones. We weren't texting and things like that. I mean, you make a point. There's just so much access, and so much ability. But like, I guess as a parent, like, I guess this is a hard question, but it's like, how do you, if you suspect, right? Because if you suspect that your teenager or your loved one, what do you do, right? Because I think it's like, as raising teenagers, it's like they're going to be, rebellious. They're going to talk back. They're going to, you know what I mean? You're going to get in arguments. But I mean, at some point, but if you think or they're on drugs, what do you do?
I would say, one, keep drug tests, keep Narcan. I actually brought you guys some to have. We have so many people that say, I don't need that because I don't do drugs. No, everybody in America needs Narcan right now. I think fentanyl needs to be treated like a COVID situation. Mm-hmm. It really does. We need to be paying attention. And just because it might not be your kid, who's to say that one of their friends aren't going to come over on something and overdose in your house? Mm-hmm. It's just better to be prepared. Mm-hmm. I would say get them to counseling as soon as possible. I think as parents, we don't realize that our kids struggle with so much peer pressure. Mental health is huge. We think that just because that was me. I'm like, boy, you're stressed. What do you mean? Like, I got to go to work. I got to pay the bills. I got to do this. I got to do that. We don't realize how much peer pressure they have at school, what they may be going through. They have little girlfriends and boyfriends, and surprisingly, they're having these relationships at younger ages. One of our boys, 16 years old, had an issue with the girlfriend. He was fine. Him and the girlfriend got into it. He went and took some pills, and now he's dead. So it's, I would say as a parent, and I'm no perfect parent, but I would say talk to your kids more, because you really don't know.
Yeah.
We all work. We're busy. We, sometimes we don't even have dinner with our kids. We're like, oh, go. Oh, you're going out to eat with your friends. Cool. See you later. Or we're too busy doing life that we don't realize what they might be going through. And so I just encourage parents to really stop, because the same situation I had with this parent earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I have to go to work. I'll take him another day. Now he's overdosing and almost dying. Like it has to be an emergency.
Yeah.
If you have to take off work, you have to take off work. If you have to make appointments for them to go to a counselor, well, guess what? Tell them you're going to go. Take away their phones, check their social media. I just posted a whole emoji list yesterday, and it was removed from Facebook for community guidelines.
Like emojis that are like
code
words?
And I was like, of course they were. Of course they were. What's going on in our country? Like, what's going on? But, as parents, those are the things that slip by us, because we don't think when they're sitting right next to us, here they are on the phone, on the tablet, doing all these things. Well, we have a mom in our group and Snapchat is the worst. Drug dealers don't care about you or your family. Like, whatever they care about, their $5 or $10 or whatever it is they're going to make. And I tell the kids this in school. They will message you on Snap. You're going to say, hey, bring me whatever. One of our parents, luckily her son's been in rehab for 7 months and he's alive. But the kid literally dropped off whatever he dropped off to the kid like DoorDash in a Sonic bag. 2 minutes later, her son is overdosing in her living room. She had no idea what the kid just dropped off. But they had their conversation, so they knew amongst themselves what they were doing. So I just feel like we as parents, we think that we know, but sometimes we don't know.
Yeah.
And if they are stressing, like, ask them, have a family meeting. I wish I would have done that more with my kids.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on at school, Like, really what's going on at school.
Right. Not just, it's fine. Everything's, it's
I
good.
had a good day. Yeah, I'm good. But really, they may be really stressing about something and we have no idea because they say, I'm okay. And we just let them go.
Yeah. I like that. I like what you're saying about counseling, because I feel like with many teenagers, in any sense, right, they don't want to talk to their parents per se, right? It's like,
Mom and dad never understand.
Yeah.
They don't get it. Yeah. I remember feeling that way.
I had a kid who the other day, I'm telling you, he's called me, Miss Michelle. That's what they call me, Miss Michelle. Can you talk? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, I don't want you to text me. I want to talk. And I said, okay. So I called him. He was struggling. He said, I did take pills today. I am on pills today. And I said, okay. So I'm like messaging his mom, like, hey, where are you at? Do you know what he's doing? She's like, yeah. That day I said to him, you have to be the one to make the decision to stop. But I'm stressed out. Me and my girlfriend are into it and I'm mad at her and da-da-da-da. They're teenagers.
Yeah.
But he couldn't tell his mom those things. I'm a complete stranger. But he could tell me because he was embarrassed that his mom was going to think something or whatever. His mom called me after. She's like, thank God he talked to you. Now he's in rehab. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's not fine. He's in the very beginning of it, but he's going to be fine.
But he's alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So it's rough. It's a rough, I feel like it's a rough conversation. And even today I was like, you're probably going to, what are you going to say? Like, are you going to cry? Are you going to be mad? Because I'm angry.
Yeah.
I really am angry. And yesterday we went to the alternative center in Odessa because we go to whatever schools will let us in. And I told the kids, I said, when you ask the kids, do you know anybody on these posters? 90% of those kids are raising their hand that those are their friends. Wow. And they're like, yeah, that's my friend. And I didn't realize that this is that serious. I'm like, yeah, it's that serious. And we give them candy. And we're like, here, take the candy. And some of them are like, no, I'm not going to eat that. I said, so you're going to take something from someone off the street, but you're not going to take pills from me, an old lady? And I just kind of joke with them. But they get it. Yeah. Then they get it. And they see, like, maybe this is really serious. Maybe I am playing with my life.
Well, everybody tends to, like, nobody believes it could happen to them until it happens to them. And I think especially, like, our community being smaller than, like, the Dallas and the Houston and whatnot. Right. It's like, oh, but we're a small town. Like, that hasn't made it here yet. Mm-hmm. Like, Midland can be behind the curve on a lot of things, but this is not one of them. Like, it's everywhere. Like, somebody I went to school with had a fun weekend, if that was their idea of fun, and didn't survive it because what they were partaking in was laced and, left behind kids and a wife. And it's just, like, it can literally happen to anybody. Yeah. Age, race, sex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does not matter. Mm-mm. We have a girl, her and her mother went to a wine tasting one day. They had a great day together. She goes off with her friends. And she's like, God, I have a headache, So she asks her friend for an ibuprofen. Well, ibuprofen is not what she got. She went home. Her mom went and found her dead in the bed. Oh, my gosh. Another kid went to the dentist, had a tooth pulled early in the day. Mom had to go to work, couldn't get to the pharmacy quick enough. And the girl's at home like, my God, my tooth is like, does anybody have on her Snapchat? Does anybody have any pain pills? Oh. Someone brings her whatever they bring her. Mom comes home, finds her dead. It's very serious.
It's terrifying, yeah.
Wow. And we think, I will not ask anybody for headache medicine, nothing.
Yeah.
I won't do it. And even if it's like my mom, my sister, they're like, are you crazy already? Like, this is making you nuts. And I'm like, I don't care.
It's a good, like, habit to establish, though. Like, I'm not
because one time could literally take your life. And I know that it's, it's very cliche to say, oh, one pill kills, but it really does.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not directly related, but I understand what you're saying. Like, many years ago, I was going to start EMT school, right, and take classes. And it just so happened that I think I had a headache or something earlier in the day, and I asked somebody, like, hey, do you have a, it was like it was at a dentist office, right? It was all friends, and I was like, hey, anybody has something I can take? And she was like, oh yeah, I have some here. You can take this. And I wasn't obviously. I mean, at that time, I wasn't worried about being laced with something. Right. It was prescribed to her, right? However, when I get to the first class of the night, and they're like, "Hi, we're drug testing," and it still didn't hit me. Keep in mind, right? Because I took.
You're like,
I didn't take it. I didn't take something off the streets. I didn't. This wasn't a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Right. And I did the drug test, and it came back, and they're like, we found this in your system. Is this prescribed to you? And I go, I couldn't even remember. I was like, because I don't take a lot of prescription drugs. I don't know the names of them. I don't know the street names for sure. And I'm like, oh, I think it was a Valium or something. Yeah. And they were like, cool. Well, if it wasn't prescribed to you, you're out of the program. And from that day, I was like,
yeah. And you're also the type of, like, I've worked in the medical industry, so like I know what all the different things are called. And he's always been kind of like, I'll hand him pills all the time. And he's like, just take some. I'm like, you don't even ask me what I'm giving you. Right. I'll be like, that was arsenic.
Yeah.
And he's like, cool, whatever. But yeah, like, now you have to be careful about those things.
Do. Yeah. Man, this is terrifying. Do you have like do you have a facility or what is the project like? What are you working toward in terms of
I should have gotten my phone. So I don't have a facility, but yesterday I was looking through old messages and I told my friends, I'm like, guys, look at God. November 9th, I sent this message to all of my friends and I said, this is my idea. The 111 Project is going to be this amazing organization, fentanyl awareness. We're going to have a place where these kids can go and be off the streets. We're going to provide everything for them. They're not going to have to pay for anything. They're going to come in. They're going to be able to watch movies. We're going to have, all of my entrepreneur friends, we're going to be able to teach them things, right? Because let's face it, I'm sorry, I'm going to be the one to say it. Not everybody's made for college. They're just not.
Absolutely.
There are so many talented kids in this world. And, it's like, maybe they just want to be an entrepreneur and maybe they're so talented, but they don't have anybody to teach them how to get there. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I want a place where these kids can feel safe, where these kids can go and, like I said, go watch a movie and chill after school.
Yeah.
Go get something to eat after school and hang out. If you need to talk to somebody, if you had a bad day, if you are on drugs, if you do need help, But I said all that. And then I'm like, we were begging schools back in January. I was begging 2020 before I even had a name. I was like, my son is gone. And as a mom, can I please come talk to these kids? Please. They need to hear this. Of course, like, no, who are you? We're not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And now they're reaching out to us. And so I'm just great. I'm very grateful for people who have supported us. But yes, we need a lot more support.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Well, on that then, what can the community do? Obviously this is a nationwide thing, but what can Midland, Odessa do to help you?
We definitely we do need funding. I hadn't even begun to look at grants or anything yet because we were so new. It was like, oh God, we're doing a school presentation today, and then tomorrow we're doing 5. Okay, cool, let's do this.
Yeah.
So we haven't even begun, and I was telling Rachel, I said, God puts people where they need to be when they need to be there. I said, because months ago I would have been like, girl, I don't know what I'm talking about, But she's like, well, that's how it works. When you're living in your purpose, the people come and the things happen. And so we need all the people. We need people for a lot of things,
Yeah.
We do need more, we do need a grant writer. We do need people who are, I have great board members, but we need more board members. We need people who can help us to make this into what we want it to be. Right now, we're just a bunch of moms.
Yeah.
And we're fighting for our kids. And one of the moms told me yesterday, she said, we would not be doing this if it wasn't for you. She said, if you wouldn't make us get up and go to these schools, we would be in bed depressed. We would be sad. And I said, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. I'm not going to sit by and continue watching, these kids die on my dime. I can't. It's really sad. Yesterday was so emotional, and I'm always the tough one. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm the one who's giving this whole presentation, and I'm talking. And yesterday I was just this crybaby in front of all these kids. But I told them, I said, guys, we love y'all, and we don't want anything to happen to you. That is why I'm sitting here crying like a baby,
Yeah.
But my friend, I guess her daughter had gotten into a fight at school because I was like, why is she at the alternative school? What's going on? She said, I just want to let you know that you really impacted my daughter today. And when I leave from there, every time I'm sad and I'm going through it, but I'm like, this is the reason.
Yeah.
That one person, that one kid that's listening, that's what matters. So yeah, I'm not going to stop.
Good.
You shouldn't.
But we need all the help we can get because we really are like grassroots. You know what I mean? Like we just started it and just ran with it, and that's where we are.
Yeah. It's, kids talk to each other, so it's, having such an impact on the one that was told to you, and she's going to talk to her friends, and hopefully, they'll reach out for more information and whatnot. But you're doing good.
Well, and we have like TikTok and Snap, to kind of in a cool way give the message to the kids.
Yeah.
Because they're not listening. They don't want to listen to the parents.
Yeah.
So we have like fun music and like the rap beats and things that catch them because they're not paying attention. Mm-hmm. But when you give it to them how they need to hear it, they're going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got to be very impactful, especially Gen Z. Yeah, TikTok. It's like they're not going to listen to you if you're dancing and lip syncing and stuff. It's got to be it's got to be the message from their peers, to them. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I saw that this month October is it Fentanyl Awareness Month?
Yes. So we went to see the governor back in April. I thought it was cute because he like hugged me real tight. I was like, okay. Hey, man.
All right, Greg.
No, right? It was cool. But, and at first I was like, it's just politics. Like, he has to do this. But then all these things started changing. House Bill 6 says that they are changing the classification from overdose to poisoning, which means these kids aren't just out here doing drugs.
Right.
They are literally taking things that they don't know what it is.
Right. Okay.
So now if someone knowingly sells fentanyl to someone and they die, it's a murder charge. So things are changing, they need to be cracked down on. Because it's like, come on, you're just killing people.
Yeah.
You're killing people's kids every single day of the week. So, yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That changes are being made.
It's like when Mac Miller overdosed or was poisoned.
Right.
I mean, because it's such a big name and everything, they went looking for those drug dealers. And I think that that's also what we should be doing here for anybody.
Right.
Like,
so yeah, when the governor was like, okay, October is going to be fentanyl, prevention and awareness month, we were like, okay, let's do it.
yeah.
And, you have a lot of awareness, like, it's breast cancer and everything this month. So it's kind of hard to wrap it all together, but it's important that we spread the message and that everybody's paying attention.
Absolutely.
How do people get a hold of you if they want to donate, volunteer, just help out in general?
So Instagram, the 111 Project, website 111projectspelledout.org. And that's pretty much the easiest way. We are everywhere in the community now. We actually are having a trunk or treat with the Odessa Fire Department, Police Department, and City on the 27th at Woodson Park in Odessa. Okay. So come out to that. But yeah.
Yeah, and just so you know, if you have any events like that, like, our entire website and social media is all about promoting not just local businesses and, general events, but also causes. So, feel free to reach out anytime with the information about where you're going to be or anything like that. We're happy to, to post that out and send it out in email and social media every week. Anything that we can do, to help spread the word, we'd love to, continue this conversation, obviously, with you. But, yeah, this is when I first saw you and your organization, you just happened to be on the street on City Hall, and I was just kind of curious because
shouting like crazy people.
Yeah, I was like, wow, is this like a protest going on or something? And just being sort of, I guess, the nosy person that I am, but knowing that, I want to, allow people to tell their story, and I just happened to come up with you. You guys were sort of like wrapping up, and I didn't want to intrude, obviously, and I felt weird. I was just like, hi,
what are y'all doing?
You don't know me. I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'm glad that we were able to connect, and I'm glad that you were able to make it here today. And as a parent of an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old, right? It's pretty scary. And so, yeah, is there anything that you can leave this community or the nation or the world with, just in terms of like things have got to change, right? We've had this war on drugs for 50 years
Nancy
now,
Reagan.
right? Mm-hmm. Since Nixon probably, right? And so, we understand that it's a complicated issue, and and people are like, you're not going to get this. How do you stop this, right? But I think it's incremental, right? And so, like, what can the person sitting there watching this today? What can they do, whether or not they're a parent, or whether this is whether this has directly affected them? What can they do?
I think that they need to remember that it can be you. That's the one thing that I think I've been saying for the last couple of years, is it can be. When you're sitting and watching TV and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of seeing this fentanyl, or, oh, those kids were on drugs anyway. You hear people say that all the time. Well, if they wouldn't have been doing drugs, we've heard it all.
Yeah.
Well, it's your fault. You shouldn't have been letting your kid do drugs and da da da. Okay, well, what happens when it's your kid who goes to a party one time and he's peer pressured into taking something one time and he dies or she dies? It happens. And I think that we all need to take the blinders off. We need to stop acting like we're better than. We need to really look at the fact that this is a national problem. It's not just the people who it's happening to problem. It's an everybody problem. And we just need to remember that we need to love on people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Love on people. We have to. This world is already broken enough. Like, what's so wrong with, you see people posting. I saw an Instagram video earlier, and it's this guy posting this woman who is on who knows what, but she's in the middle of the street. And she's like, obviously skitzing on something. She's bending her body all around and she's acting really crazy. But that's not her doing that. She's somebody's daughter. She's might have been somebody's mother. And I think that we have to stop acting as if that couldn't happen to one of our loved ones, because it can.
Yeah.
Instead of turning it into
Right.
entertainment.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
Because
Go
it
and say,
happens.
are you okay?
Right.
Can I help
Yeah.
you with anything?
You don't have to pull out your phone and immediately start recording
Right.
to make it a meme or something. A person needs help.
Lead with kindness
Yep.
and compassion.
That's a great point. And we really appreciate you coming in today. We really appreciate what you're doing. And, we're sorry for your loss. But, you're definitely turning it into a positive, and we know that you're going to help so many more people. And it's unfortunate that you're going to have to help so many more people.
We are trying.
But like you said, if there's anything that we can do, please reach out anytime.
What I will end with is, if you feel like your kids, grandkids, your kids' peers, whoever are struggling with this, reach out. Reach out, because we have resources. We are not, we don't provide the resources, but we are more of a resource center. We have a ton of people who can get you some help.
Okay.
So don't think that there's nobody here that can help you. It could be that there is not someone here local, but if it's worth saving your kid's life to send them somewhere out of the city or state, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
100%. Michelle, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up?
I think that's all.
Okay. All right. Again, visit the website, social media, and see you on the next one.